Okay, right. So, this is
Hey.
session 20, I think, of the Al Qadim game, um,
Woo!
which, hey, we made it this far. We haven't managed to kill anybody yet. Yet. Um, okay, so, when we last left our intrepid explorers, um, you guys had. I'm trying to remember the name of the village that you were at. Tarv. You guys had got to Tarv with the caravan, and you'd agreed to go out to the Valley of Echoes, as there was a hermit called Mahara who lived out there. And a group of villagers fairly regularly went out and took food and clothes and things, and went and saw the hermit. And the last lot that went had been gone for, I think it was about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and hadn't returned, and everybody's very worried about them. The journey was weird. It took 3 days, I seem to remember. And on the way, while the days were fine, the nights. The first night, um, you in the middle of one of the watches, there was suddenly a genie in the camp, huge, 10 feet tall, bald, stripped to the waist, silk pantaloons. Why do I remember they were pale blue silk pantaloons? I don't know. But suddenly towering over you all with a flash of smoke and a huge thunderclap. And he demanded to know the answer to a riddle, and you answered that the answer to the riddle was fate, and evidently you got it right, or something happened because he left. And over the next couple of nights, your sleep was massively disturbed by hyenas howling. Um, I think the final night there was the sound of a woman begging for mercy and then being torn apart by wild animals. There was a bleating goat. There were all kinds of kind of fairly horrific sounds that echoed around the valley. Um, Having got through the Valley of Echoes, you climbed up this narrow mountain path that led to a tiny valley, um, that went back off the mountainside, and there were four caves there. Before you got to that valley, just as you were coming almost to it, you were attacked from a small cave on the mountain path by one of these guys, a gigantic hyena. And once you dispatched, in fact, I think before you dispatched that, it wasn't Yusef, was it? Who was it who went in to the?
James.
I think, was it Jafar that managed to get past it and up into the valley,
Yeah.
where you
Jafar
found.
went off and did something stupid by himself.
That was it, and you found a woman who stumbled out of one of the four cave mouths up there, or one of the three open cave mouths up there, and seemed really relieved that you'd got there, and said they'd been there for a week. You went past her to look into the cave, at which point she turned into a hyena and attacked you from behind whilst another hyena came out of the cave. There was a large battle, and
what killed many things.
what killed many things, many things. The largest of the three hyenas was killed and thrown pretty much to the back of the valley, farthest away from you. There was one dead hyena in the cave nearest to where you came up to the valley, and the cave mouth diagonally opposite, which was the one that Shafar was just about to go into when all hell broke loose. There was, oh no, that was where the large one came from. So you've killed 3 of the 4 hyenas. As you've killed them, they've changed back into people. And there is, the woman has changed back into a person from her hyena shape. And I think Youssef was standing over her. I don't know if Shafar was, if Anwar was as well.
I think Rashid was.
Rashid was with a sword, while she knelt on the ground, sort of begging for mercy, basically. So that's where we left it. So to recap, you've come up the mountain path, you've gone past one little cave, you've kept going up, and a little bit further past that, 30, 40 feet past that, there is a small valley that just cuts into the mountain side, into the cliff side. There are 4 caves, two nearest the opening, 2 further back. There is a dead body that was a hyena in the cave to your left. You haven't seen anything come out of the front cave to your right. The cave to the right at the back of the valley is where the large hyena and the woman came from. The one on the back at the left has a stone wall built across it, and in the middle, roughly between the diagonally opposite caves, this woman's kneeling on the floor. The body of what was the large hyena is at the back of the valley. I think I've mentioned everything. I'm not sure if that made it any clearer.
I roughly remember now.
But I'm sure we can cope with anything that's on there.
Yep.
Basically,
The only living things are.
small piece of floor. There's one woman in the middle. There are 4 cave entrances, 2 and 2, and the one on the left-hand side, furthest away from the cliff face that you've just climbed up, has got a stone wall built across it.
This woman that's left alive, what's she done to this up to this point? I can't quite remember.
Okay, she came out of the cave,
Mm-hmm.
and she said she was one of the villagers, and she'd been stuck in that cave for a week, and she was very thankful that you rescued her. You kind of moved past her to go into the cave that she'd just come out of, which is the furthest away on the right. As you did so, this huge hyena attacked you, and she then became a hyena and attacked you from behind, so you got sandwiched between the 2 of them. But once all hell broke loose, she backed down and changed back into a woman, and has now begged for her life.
I think we should have some aggressive words with her.
Aggressive words?
How do we know that her psychological state won't affect whether or not she becomes a hyena? Because it seems somewhat variable.
Well, if we get Anwar to stand next to her, if she starts doing anything weird, hit her.
Okay, one thing that I will remind you of is these things were healing at an alarming rate. Every time you took one down, it healed. I'm trying to remember who attacked with what that really did damage to it. Charlie cast Spiritual Weapon. Youssef cast Spiritual Weapon, which was like a large glowing... What was it, Charlie? Was it a large glowing axe, or I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a large glowing hammer, warhammer.
Warhammer. And every time that hit, it seemed to do real damage. At one point, Anwar critically hit with a two-handed scimitar, lifted the thing physically and threw it kind of 20 feet back. You heard ribs go and bones break and shatter. There was blood everywhere. Within like a round, it was back up and just completely untouched. So they are. I'm not sure if anybody else was doing damage that really finished them. Oh, somebody cast fire spells, didn't they? I think the fire spells were going really well. Yeah, the spells were attacking them well, and the
radiant damage.
Yeah, but and spiritual weapon was.
Yeah.
But
whether that's the case in
most
human
of your
form or
weapons,
not, we don't know.
Yeah, but most of your weapons didn't seem to be doing an awful lot.
Well, would it be worth not bothering talking to her then, and just while she can't attack us?
No, because there's knowledge to be gleaned from her.
Okay. Well, Jafar's not very keen on talking to her then.
Fine, I'm going to go and question the woman.
I seem to remember that Charlie's character, so I've forgotten the name, had the floating magic axe thing like right above her anyway.
Yeah, I think the Warhammers. How long does spirit? Can anybody remember how long spiritual weapon lasts?
I can have a look. I've got.
Oh, yes.
Spiritual weapon. Spiritual weapon. Lasts a minute.
Okay. So, I mean, as we ended last time round, it was kind of in the middle of a fight. I think you'd only had 2 rounds with it.
Nearly up.
Yeah, you're probably at about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was circulating above her, so she's kind of on her hands and knees in the middle of the clearing, and she's alternating glances between this weapon that's going round, Rashid, who stood in front of her with a scimitar outstretched, and the body of the guy who was up until very recently a hyena, who's now over behind her, and she's kind of glancing at the weapon and keeps looking back at him.
And was going to keep like an eye on that guy.
Okay.
Seeing that they were getting back up, is still not completely sure whether they're down or not.
Okay. Right, so Nabil was going to walk over and question her.
Yes. Nabil's very much after how she's become, what happened to make her into a hyena, how long she thinks she's been like this, and that kind of thing.
Okay, so
Louis, can I go for an Arcana check to see if I can think of any magical devices that would have done this, or magical spells, or?
I'm gonna say no, simply because I think you did an Arcana check.
I think I did, yes.
I think you did an Arcana check last time round to see if you could think of that. I tell you, you can make me an Arcana check at disadvantage because you've already done one once. But yeah, you can make one in the meantime. Okay, so what'd you get?
I got a 7, and my Arcana is 7, so I got 14.
14. Okay, leave that with me. I'll see how this conversation goes, and I might give you something off the back of it because you're pondering that and trying to work out what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so James, what's Nabil thinking? Where's he starting from as a point for having this discussion?
Well, he's thinking that this woman, they obviously wouldn't have settled out here, or would have been told about these shape changes if they'd been out here for a long time. Therefore, there must have been a recent change to either make them more aggressive, or this is the party that was sent out to take supplies to the man.
Okay, so you're going to check and see whether. Sorry, you're going to check and see whether or not this is the group of villagers.
Yeah.
Okay, roll me a. What are we going to say? Roll me either persuasion or intimidation at advantage. I'll tell you what, start with rolling 2d20. Because that'll tell us whether it's worthwhile checking your bonus modifiers.
A 13's my best.
Okay, are you proficient in either?
No.
Okay, what's your they both? Okay,
They're
so
both at 0.
both wisdom and charisma are at 0.
Oh, wisdom. I
Use wisdom for persuasion or charisma for intimidation.
Persuasion's based on charisma.
That's it. They're both based on charisma.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're all charisma.
Okay, right. So that's a 0 then. Okay, so you got a 13.
Yeah.
Okay. She's kind of pretty much just kind of begging you not to kill her, and she keeps talking about poor Maz, and she's glancing behind her. Okay. She starts off trying to tell you that that they were the villagers, but it's patently obvious that she's lying. And as you press her for information, she tells you that that they are the clan. She can barely remember where she originally came from. Do you want to roll me an insight check? It's doing that thing where it's not displaying dice again.
That is going to be 15 plus, you said, insight.
Yeah.
That will be 17.
Okay, so she says she can barely even remember where she came from. She was from a village. She kind of skims over, and you kind of get the feeling that she's lying or not quite telling the truth about something. She's certainly not giving you the whole story. But she says that the clan, that's what she calls the group. The clan was attacked by Yanadin, who as she tells the story, it turns out was quite possible. Well, it was a genie, potentially the one that you met the other night. and they attacked this genie when they found him. It was Maz's idea. She looks back towards the body of this guy in the far part of the little sort of valley or area you're in, and she says your Naden was fearsome, and did anybody? I don't think anybody got into close combat with that particular hyena. I think probably the closest was Jafar got close to.
Warhammer. Yeah.
Well, no, I think Yusef did it from a distance with the spiritual weapon. I think Jafar was probably the closest. Jafar does remember seeing that this hyena was damaged in one eye. Its eye didn't look like it worked properly, and she says, "Yeah, Yanardin pretty much beat Maz in combat, and since then they've been following the genie, and they've been to various places. They've been here because Yanardin kept wanting to visit the old man. So they've been camped out here for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. She's not exactly sure how long they've been there."
Okay then. I'm going to ponder this. I'm going to ask her what's up with the stone wall.
Okay. She says Yanadin keeps the old man there, as if that pretty much explains it. And she goes back throughout this being you kind of get the feeling she'd be pouring you if she wasn't frightened to get too close to you, and keeps asking you to let her go and be kind and be nice and not to hurt her. Yazid.
Yeah.
Whereabouts are you while this is going on?
I'm sort of like standing sort of like quite a way away. Probably about 15 feet or so. Well, no, sorry, probably about 6 or 7 feet away. Because I want to be close enough to study her, but I don't want to be close enough for her to be able to touch me, if you see what I mean.
Okay. So you're studying her. Yeah, you're not sure. I think you said previously you'd heard of groups of shapechangers.
Yes.
Who could be both human and hyena.
Yes.
Everything that you're hearing ties in with this, but you're not quite sure. I don't think you've necessarily learned anything new about it. Other than she definitely says she was previously from a different village. But you're not. So you're kind of getting the feeling that she probably wasn't born the way she is now.
Right. So something caused her to be this way.
Yeah.
Okay. James, sorry, have you asked her about how they change into hyenas, or?
I don't believe I have.
Do you want to question her, or do you want me to?
I'm happy to quiz her on it, yes.
Okay. Mummy, Governor, I'll stand over here out the way, not being seen. Or rather, not being ambushed.
Okay.
Actually, what I'll do is, did you say there was another guy further back, Louis?
There is the body of a guy, further back.
I'm going to go and look at that, and I'm going to gesture for Rashid to cover me. To just keep his eyes open.
Was already staring at her, so...
Yeah, I think has Anwar walked back there already?
He's kind of, he's a little,
Okay.
He
So
was
this
looking at it. He
guy,
kind of.
this guy's lying there, and he's pretty messed up. He's all of the injuries that the that the magical battle hammer Warhammer, there we go, did to him are still visible on his body. You do notice that he's lying there with his eyes open, and one eye is milky white and just mashed up. So yeah, so you've seen that, and he doesn't look like he's going to be moving anytime soon.
Anwar would crouch down and brush his eyes closed.
Okay, you can brush one of his eyes closed. The other one stays open. The eye itself has been
milky white one
damaged.
Yeah.
The milky white one's been damaged quite a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So you close his eyes. He's about 28, maybe 29. Fairly well muscled. Just wearing kind of fairly plain, ordinary robes. He's got kind of leather jerkin on underneath. Give me half a sec. I'm trying to remember what he was carrying. Don't think he's carrying anything actually at the time. So no. Yeah. Okay, so you wanted to ask about the origins of the clan then? Nabil?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, she's based on the roles you've already given. She's she seems to be hesitant to talk about the clan and its origins. She talks about being a child growing up in a village, and then the clan came. How hard do you want to push the line of questioning?
I will. At the thing and the clan came, I will ask for more information, but I'm not going to push it too far. I will kind of ask once, at most twice.
Okay, she just says that the clan came and that she changed and went with them, and she's just not. She's not giving you anything. There's a she's really not happy. Is anybody else who's standing around? So not Yazid or Anwar, but anybody else who wants to can make an insight check.
I can do an insight check. And I'm standing around. +4. Are you ready? Oh look, I've got a dice. It's got a 2 though. That's a failure where I come from.
Okay, yeah, that's a 6. Yeah, you're not sure that she is entirely certain how it all kicked off, to be honest. And you're kind of caught up with her with her story. Did somebody say they were going to go and look at the stone wall? Or did I dream it? Was Shafar going to look at the stone wall? Shafar's going to have a look at the stone wall. Okay. The cave entrance is, I mean, not that they're identical, but they're all kind of cave entrances of a similar kind of size. They look as though they might have been very loosely chiseled out at some point in the past. It was kind of to make the openings for the caves seem roughly the same size. This one looks like that, but about 3 or 4 inches inside it, there is just this solid sheet of stone across the front of the cave, and it seems to almost seamlessly join with the cave wall, but it's not of the same kind of stone. It's got a kind of granity texture to it, where the rest of the cliff. This is suddenly going to go very lame, and I'm going to say isn't, but it's a different type of stone.
Does it look magical rather than just out of place?
It just looks to Shafar. It just looks out of place. In the centre of the wall, there is, if I can find the right bit, so I get this right, there is a small hole in the centre of it, about 3 inches in diameter. So what's that? About kind of yay. There's a hole about that size through the middle of the stone wall.
The flat sheet stone wall.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's kind of a 10-foot by, I don't know, maybe 5-foot opening, and just across the whole of the front of it is just this solid wall of stone, not made of blocks, not even cyclopean, but just kind of one big flat wall of unbroken stone, except for one hole right in the middle of it.
Jafar's going to wander up to the wall, give it a tap with sort of bottom of a dagger or something, and then have a look through the hole.
Okay, inside the hole is the hole itself is pretty much dark. There's a just inky blackness, but it looks like it goes back. It probably goes back about 6 inches, something like that, and then it just becomes blackness after that.
No, I don't have light, but prestidigitation will allow me to make a shower of sparks. So could I sort of shoot some sparks into it to see if that can...
So you're going to do prestidigitation. So you're going to so Shafar kind of waves his fingers at the hole, and this little shower of sparks flickers inside just to illuminate the hole.
Yep.
Okay. 2 things. The first thing is, as you do it, the sparks, I mean, they're not bright, but they're enough to illuminate what happens with the hole, and the hole goes back about 6 inches, and at the end you see the sparks just kind of drop through the back of the hole. So the wall's only 6 inches deep or so, and then kind of the sparks are kind of bouncing around the inside of that, and then when they get to the far end of that, they just kind of drop out of sight.
And, Jafar's going to get an arrow.
Hang on. As you do that, okay, so you're peering through and you watch these sparks, and then you suddenly hear a voice that very loudly and very subtly goes, "God bloody hell! What are you doing that for?"
Who said that?
Oh, who said that?
What do you mean who said that? I did.
I'm going to get the arrow that I was talking about out of the quiver and poke it into the hole. Should I roll for initiative?
Oh, sorry. No, but bear with me. I'll be back in half a sec.
That's what happens when you poke arrows through wet holes. People go back in half a sec.
This means something very nasty is probably about to happen.
Hmm.
Give me a sec
James
while
has
I
fallen
just
asleep.
check Facebook. No. Although Facebook was the first thing that came up, but that's not why I'm here. Please be on here and not on my phone.
Is Adil still with us, by the way?
Is Adil? Yeah. Adil is kind of standing over near where you came up. You kind of get the feeling that he's trying to not be near anything dangerous, which, given that he has very little idea of what's actually happening, he doesn't want to be near any of the caves.
Right.
He doesn't want to be near any of the creatures, and equally, he doesn't want to be anywhere near the drop off the edge of the cliff. So he's looking distinctly kind of unsure. So he's kind of stood about 6 foot from the edge of the cliff, behind those of you that are clustered around Soraya, which is the name of the woman that Nabil is questioning. Yeah, so you so you're going to get out an arrow and go kind of poking the end of the arrow through the opening.
Yeah.
Okay. You suddenly feel the arrow get yanked out of your hand, and you lose it into the hole. And you hear a voice the other end saying, "Just what I bloody need. I'm in here for weeks and then the morons turn up."
I'm going to ask him how is he trapped behind this wall?
Can you make me a it's not diplomacy. There isn't really diplomacy, is there?
Trapped behind wall check.
Make me a charisma check, and
Yeah,
you've
just
got
basically
proficiency on it.
Charisma, that's a +2 for me. 7 + 2, 9 in total.
And you
How's
got
that?
and you got proficiency, which I'm guessing your proficiency bonus is probably a
I have no idea.
2. It's 11.
So you're at 11.
Nice.
Okay, so the question was, what are you doing in there? Or how do you come to be trapped in there? Was that?
Yeah, how is he stuck behind this wall?
Therein lies a story. Bloody great argumentative genie. It's got me locked up here, trying to answer my sodding riddle.
Your sodding riddle?
Of course, my sodding riddle is that I'll get killed by him. He's not too bright. You make me a perception check, Liam.
I can. I might as well not have. I rolled a 3 + 1.
Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, yeah. So he says, yeah, not too bright, that one.
What, the genie?
Yes, the genie.
So he's asked the genie the riddle, and then the genie's popped up and asked us the riddle. The genie's disappeared and said the answer back to this guy, and obviously it wasn't right, otherwise he wouldn't still be in there. I'm going to wander off and find the 2 clever wizard guys and start talking to them about this.
On the way back, are you going to explain what just happened?
Yeah, but I think I can't remember.
Now you have to resolve it here.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. So, have you thought of repeating the riddle to him, if I can remember it?
I can't remember the riddle, so that's my house. You might remember it.
Somebody else might remember it. No.
No, I can't remember the riddle.
No.
Okay.
If
Why don't we just go back and ask the bloke what the riddle is?
So we met a genie and it asked us this riddle. We can't remember it. And tell him we thought the answer was fate and see what he says.
Okay, so just to recap, so Nabil's been talking to the woman called Soraya. Yazid and Anwar have been looking over the body of this guy. Sorry, guys, is there anything very specific you were trying to find out about it?
Anwar was kind of just looking at him to see if he was still alive or not, because he doesn't really understand magic and stuff, and so yeah.
Okay,
But he's pretty sure he's dead, I think.
I was looking for any specific marking or some device that had magical markings to it to see if I could find what was causing the transformation.
Okay, you're not getting. Sometimes when you're around magic, you get a vibe, especially if it's strong sorcery. You get a vibe from the magic. You're certainly not getting that from this. And as far as you're concerned, you're pretty sure he's dead. He's not breathing. He's not got a pulse. He's suffering from fairly extensive wounds. Anwar, I know you're going to love that I ask you this. In fact, I'll ask both of you to do it. Can you both give me an intelligence check? Anwar's not that thick. He's not that bright, but he's not that thick.
No.
16.
Okay.
5. I
Okay.
rolled a 6, and I'm on a -1.
Okay. What Yazid notices is the wounds are still bleeding. They're still open. You can see this guy still messed up. The combat wasn't long, but one of the things that really did strike you was every time one of these things took a hit, like from Anwar's sword, the wound just closed up and healed. So
I think even
I'm
Anwar
not saying
figured
that
out.
they're not going to get up, but they're not healing themselves in the same way as they were.
Okay. Can I hear Jafar talking to the wall from where I am?
Jafar's wandered back over to come and find the clever wizard people to.
Okay. Have we actually Louis, does this guy have any clothing or anything like that on him at all, or is he sort of like just naked?
No, he's got kind of a loose fitting tunic. He's got a leather. I wouldn't go quite as far as saying leather armor, but he's got kind of leather on underneath, kind of loose fitting.
Okay, I'm gonna pat him down to see if he's actually carrying anything on him.
Okay, you don't find anything. He's not carrying anything with him.
Okay. Which point, I should imagine that's probably time enough for Liam to wander over and go, yeah, there's a bloke in the wall over there.
Yep, I would say you've overheard that.
Okay, I'm going to wander back over to the wall then and go and have a look at it.
Okay. As Jafar comes over to the group and says, there's a geezer in the wall over there.
My arrow.
Soraya looks up at Nabil and says, "The old man that Yanadin was keeping. Yes."
How long's he kept him in there?
Since we've been here.
How long's that?
Probably. Not sure. Probably. Well, more than 2 weeks. I don't know.
Okay, Louis.
Yeah.
I'm going to summon my Jan.
Okay.
And then I'm going to sit down and talk to him. I'm going to give him a couple of shiny bits of metal I've got in my pocket. And then I'm going to sit down and say to him, "What do you know of a mighty jinn called Yanadin?"
Okay. I will tell you, although the right, so there are 4 types of genie. Without going, so the Tao are the Earth genie, and your gen is an Earth gen.
Yes.
The gen, the Earth elementals are pretty much at war with the genie, with the Tao. They are quite often enslaved by them. They're not popular, so he would generally try and stay fairly well away from genies, especially just being like a very, very small elemental, basically. But he says, I don't know anything about the. I can't remember what voice I normally do for your gen, but basically he tells you, I don't know.
Okay.
Stay away from genies. Trouble.
While I've got him there, then I shall take him over to the wall and say, "You can move through Earth, yes?"
Yes.
There's a man in that wall. Can you see if they've put a way to stop him getting out?
Man in wall.
He was sealed in there by a genie.
Yes.
Tell me if it's a normal wall and if you can move through it, and then we might be able to get him out.
Okay. What I will tell you straight off is, as you walk over, it is really obvious this is a genie-built wall.
Yeah.
And that would. You're a 4th level Shire. I don't need to make you roll for this. That would tell you that the chances are this is a Tao that you're dealing with, and it was certainly a Tao that you were dealing with, or an Earth genie that you were dealing with. The one with
the riddle and yeah,
the one in the blue silk pantaloons.
Right.
Right, yeah. So your gen disappears through the floor, and you hear some muttered cursing from inside the cave, and your gen comes back a minute or two later and says, "Cave."
Cave. Okay. Right. In that case,
is there another entrance?
Okay. You hear once so you hear the gen come out.
Yep.
And you talk to him, and then you hear a voice from inside the cave going, "You still out there?"
Yes, I'm still outside. I'm looking for a way to get you out. If you want to come out, of course.
I definitely want out.
Okay. Do you know if there's another exit from the cave?
No. No. Got no back door in here. Mind you, I didn't have a front wall until that thing turned up.
Right. Okay. Okay. I'm going to. I think I'm going to send my gen off for a spell, but I'm just going to do a bit of reading. So, do you want to deal with someone else first, Louis?
Yep. Okay. I'll go around the group.
Who's looking after the woman?
At the moment, Rashidi's standing next to her. Nabil's been talking to her. Not sure where's Shafar?
He's sort of tailing. Simon, I can't remember your character.
Yazid.
Yazid. He's sort of just tailing Yazid. Basically, just listening to him.
Okay. Is Anwar still by the fallen guy, or has he come back, or?
Was kind of listening to the conversations, but he's considering whether to chop the body into small pieces and throw it off the cliff.
Okay, so I'll put you kind of halfway between the two. So
Yeah.
if you're listening to the conversation, you kind of stepped away from it, but not by much.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
If I
Soraya
was a corpse, I'd be worried.
Soraya says, Yanadin locked him in the cave. He comes back every day, opens the cave, tries to answer the man's questions. I don't know why he bothers. And then locks him up again and leaves.
Okay, Louis, I'm going to start looking at the base of the wall. What's the material at the base of the wall?
The base of the wall,
Is it just dirt?
the wall of the that's an interesting question. It's a cave on a valley floor. Tell me what you're thinking.
Mould earth. If I can find earth that fits within a 5-foot cube, I can instantly excavate it. So I'm kind of thinking of digging a hole so we can get out.
All right, I had not even considered that. It definitely goes both sides deeply into the wall and just joins. Okay, old trick. I am gonna say 2, 4, 5. Right. Charlie, high or low?
Low.
Okay. Liam, roll me a d6.
6.
It's
Wrong answer.
pretty much solid rock.
You're rubbish, Charlie.
The stone comes down and there's kind of there's some earth piled up in front of it, but as soon as you brush that away, it's just
solid stone underneath.
it's solid stone.
As the woman's admitted that he comes back and lets him out, what time does he come back? Morning, afternoon, evening? Will it be soon? Does it happen today?
Probably knowing Arlok in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask.
She looks up at at Yusef, and then turns to look back at Nabil and says, "He's already been today. Please don't hurt Soraya. He'll be back again tomorrow."
What does he say? Any magical word to open the wall?
Not that I've heard. Yazid, make me an intelligence check.
Okay. Oh dear. 6.
6 in total.
6 in total, which means I rolled a 1.
Oh.
You forget your name.
Even if I give you proficiency on that, it's not going to help. Okay, we'll just say don't worry about it. Nothing really occurs to you.
Okay. Louis, I'm going to call my gen over.
Yep.
I'm going to ask him to go and find a spell.
Okay.
But I don't think he's going to find it. But the problem is I have lost the Shi'ar document with the percentages on it.
Okay. What level spell are you sending him for?
4th level spell.
4th level spell.
Yeah.
What type of spell?
It's a transmutation.
Yeah. No. What?
Stone shape.
Okay. That's a. Is that a wizard spell?
It is, yes.
Okay. So it makes it even more difficult if it's a clerical spell. So, level 4 Shire to. Ooh. Hell, we're not in combat. Right. Roll me percentile.
Okay.
Try and make it as low as the rest of your rolls have been.
Here. Roll. %.
Okay, you send him off. Shouldn't really let you do that, but I think what we said was 3rd level spell, and then you've got to have some kind of knowledge of it. But yeah, no, I didn't say that, and I told you to roll for it. So, your Shire, your Jen returns, clasping this little tablet.
Okay.
Only a minute or so later.
Right, okay. I will then thank him greatly, and then I will take the tablet from him and cast Stone Shape.
Okay. I think, if I remember rightly, Stone Shape lets you shape, is it up to
5 feet in any dimension?
5 feet in any dimension.
Form it into any shape that suits your purpose.
What would you
can
like
also
to
shape
do?
a stone door or its frame to seal the door shut. So I could actually sort of like just form a door in the wall and then just let them come out.
Okay.
Which is what I planned on doing.
Okay. Right. So you you read out the tablet. How does that look to people?
There's lots of imperious gestures. I get a bit of chalk out. I actually draw a door into the wall. I don't put a handle on it.
Okay.
There's a lot of rumbling of rock, and then slowly this a bit of the dock's wall sort of like eases out just like a door would.
Okay. Right. So this door kind of moves open towards you or into the cave?
Towards us.
Okay. So yeah, this door swings open. It gets a gap in the there's a gap in the door, and at that point it's a couple of small pebbles at the bottom and stops. But it's still a very, very impressive feat.
Right, I shall shout inside. Do you want to come out now?
Oh, give me a moment. And the door kind of nudges open inch by inch, and there's a short, very, very old man comes hobbling out on a walking stick, wearing pretty much naught but a loincloth and a he stumbles out. He does not look strong on his feet at all.
Okay, I shall help him out the door and help him to the side. And I shall sort of like gesture for someone to bring food and drink for him. And I shall say, sit down, old man. Is there anything else we need to get out of that cave before that door seals up again?
Um, well, my whole life's in that cave at the moment, but no, to be honest, possessions are but a temporary illusion.
That's
And
fair enough, but is there anything else in there that's going to help us when that genie shows up?
Yanaden, oath. Um, he he won't return until tomorrow. Um,
And how angry is he going to be that we let you out?
yes, you do have a point. Probably quite so. Um, does somebody come over with a drink?
Yeah.
Okay, he takes the water skin and he starts to sip it, and you can tell he is restraining himself from not just draining the whole thing. Um, he's he says, "Hello, hang on." um, no, it's not. Sorry, James has managed to oik the USB cable for his headphones. I think he's found a function key.
No, it's no function.
Oh, crap. Every time I speak, I can hear myself from over there. Yeah, he's restraining himself from not taking massive gulps of this. And after like a couple of mouthfuls, he starts almost to shake. Stone shape's permanent, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Put it this way: all it says is duration is instantaneous.
Yeah. So you've created that door. So
You
that
create
door's
the door, and that's it. It's there.
yeah. Okay, so that door's there. That's permanent. Yeah, no, he starts to shake, and he says, "I
Okay, what I'm
sorry
going to do
about
is
this.
I'm
I
going to gesture someone
didn't think I
over.
was going to get out of there at all."
Okay, I'm going to gesture someone over with blankets. I'm going to say, look, I don't know what's in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring everything out of the cave before the genie comes back. Anything you want to keep, you tell us you want to keep it. Okay?
Thank you.
Right, and
Thank
then I'll
you.
sort of like gesture Rashid over, and possibly Ammar if he's acceptable. We'll go in and we'll start taking stuff out of the cave.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm aware he's got problems with this. I'm going to say is that a good point to take maybe a 5-minute break?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. I will. I'll be back in 5.
Is James done?
It's like being half asleep. Have you managed to get that sorted again or not?
No, it's gone down.
Okay. Try plugging it back in, and then I'll have a quick look at it. I think you maybe need to go to bed. Yeah?
No, I might have sorted it.
Do you want to mute that? One, two. No. It's not coming through there. Mute the microphone and Even be two of us back, even better if I unmuted the microphone on the headset.
That helps.
It does, doesn't it?
Only a little, though.
Huh.
I'm reading about tubeless tyres. Oh,
No, I'm good with that. I'll let you try it, and if you don't pop tubeless tyres off your rims, then I'll.
I've got the tape and everything else on one of them. I'm ready. I just need the sealer and the valve and enough air.
Yeah, that's the fact they're giant rims makes me a bit nervous.
No, the back one isn't.
Is it not?
I've got a whole wheel replaced, didn't I?
Oh yeah.
It was falling apart, so I've even got the right tape and everything on it. I just need to put the sealer and tyre and blow it up.
Nah.
Well, and a valve, but yeah.
Yeah. You doing all right, guys?
I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Okay. James is half asleep and not feeling all that well, and his laptop malfunctioning was kind of the final straw. So he's going to disappear and go and crash out.
User error. Cool.
Oh,
You need
there
a
we go.
better antivirus.
Stop dropping that.
Yeah.
I will quite happily let you have a crack at looking at his machine. But hey, right, pretty much the gang's all here. I have the cut sheet.
Liam's got shoulder. Oh, he's back. Yeah. All right.
F1.
Right. Okay. So you guys swing the door of the cave. The
Open a bit
door of
further.
the cave open, and have a look in. Okay. Inside you find a kind of long jalaba, kind of tunic, knee-length tunic.
We might need that for the night.
There's two water skins, and that's it. There is nothing else in this cave.
What about Jafar's arrow?
Yes, and
yeah,
Jafar's
can I have that
arrow
back?
Yeah, Jafar's arrow is lying on the floor of the cave.
Is everything on the floor?
Next to the door.
And we'll pick that up.
No, there's one swept. The area is relatively swept, especially at the back of the cave. But no, that's it. That's all that's in there.
All right. Is there
Okay,
anything
take all that stuff out. Take the stuff out and take it back to the old van.
Okay.
And pass the ammo back to Jafar.
Thank you very much.
Handing back his arrows. Yeah, so the old man says He's had a chance to drink somewhat, and he's looking a little bit better, and he says, that's the first water I've had in must be best part of 2 weeks.
What's he been drinking then?
I haven't.
He's not drunk for 2 weeks.
That's what he's telling you.
Is there some sort of, what's the equivalent of sense motive, like detect lies?
Insight.
Should I make an insight check
You
to
can
see whether
make
he's...
an insight check. I will also say, as Yazid is standing there and listening to the conversation, you can make an Arcana check.
Okay.
Or a history check.
I rolled 11 plus 1 for insight, so 12.
Okay, 12. He doesn't appear to be lying.
I rolled a 20.
Rolled a 20. Okay.
Without adding anything to it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So you're on about a 27, which in 5th ed is about as monumental as it gets. That's probably even more impressive than rolling a 0.5 for a spell. Yeah, okay. He is... Where are we? You're aware of mystics, hermits who will go off and spend vast amounts of time. You suddenly realise that in order to do this, he's either completely lying, but he's telling pretty much the same story as Sora has. He's probably fairly powerful, and you know that if you get to a certain point, and if you're used to fasting, you could possibly, if you were extremely disciplined, manage to survive just on pretty much raw magic, and kind of basically on healing spells alone. But it would be an amazing feat to be able to do that. So if he has truly been in there for a fortnight, surviving just on magic, you're not surprised that you're surprised that he's alive, let alone a little frail.
Yeah. Right. I shall go over and talk to my learned clerical friend and say to him, is there nothing you can do to help him?
Oh, I dare say using my medicine skill.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he does look extremely
does he need healing or does
nourished.
he need... That's a question.
He looks like what he really needs is several weeks of good meals.
I don't have a gold chalice with rubies and gems on it.
Yeah, no, there's a medicine check. Just basically, you're pretty aware that what you need to do is make sure that he gets rehydrated properly, and he eats and gets some food in him.
Okay.
He looks at Jafar and says, well, for the first 3 or 4 days, I think I had what was left in that water bottle, in that skin, and then trances and spells. And
so can we share some food with him?
if you offer him food, he takes it gladly, and
He's not injured as such, is he?
No, no, he's very, very badly off. It's going to take him at least a week or two to properly recover, even with like real care and use of magic. He's in a pretty bad way, but yeah, he's not wounded. He looks around and suddenly realizes who Soraya is, and he looks up, looks at her, looks at probably Yazid, and says there were 4 of them. They were with him. They murdered the villagers. I'm surprised you've let that one live.
We tried to be merciful where we can.
It's more than they showed the villagers. You want to try and get into a trance when you're listening to them being murdered.
Does he reckon we should kill him? I ask him diplomatically.
I think that would be a remarkably good idea.
I'll hand him my knife and say that he can go and do it if he wants to.
He takes the knife from you, looks at it. Is it just like it's a standard?
It's a jambaya. That's the one.
Yeah. Got a curved blade. That kind of one of the blades that kind of snakes up. He takes it in his hand, hands it back to you, and says, "Were you the idiot with the sparks and the arrow?"
What's James's character?
Nabil.
I'll say no. That was Nabil, and gesture over to him. Take my dagger away, and I quickly skulk away.
I am just going to put my head in my hands and sit there just shaking my head slowly.
What do you need to kill him?
Normal weapon won't take one of those down.
So will an anchors do it?
Sorry, will I?
An anchors do it.
No, you might as well go and play with your friend. Fire, magic, probably the best bet.
What? Even when they're in human state?
Yes.
Oh, cool. That's quite cool.
They're not immune in one form and not in the other. I don't think any of you are carrying magical weapons, are you?
No.
Okay.
No.
I thought one
Charlie,
of them.
aren't you carrying a magical shield or something like that?
I've got a
I was going to
plus
say
one.
shields, but
You got +1.
I gave Simon a dagger +1, which was a magic dagger. If he's still got it.
Yeah,
Ah,
I should still have that.
okay. So yeah, so Yazid's got a. You've got a magic dagger.
Or you could hand that to him if you were inclined.
Yeah. I should turn around and handle to him hilt first. This is the magical dagger, but surely would you prefer one of us to do this for you? Are you strong enough to do this?
Not sure that I'm going to make it.
In which case, Rashid. I'll call Rashid over.
Okay. Yeah. No. Rashid comes over.
Rashid,
Takes the.
go and get the woman and bring her here.
Okay. Right. Rashid goes over and gestures her towards.
Just as he just before he wanders away, Louis, I'll say very, very quietly so she doesn't hear. Don't be nice about it.
Okay. So yeah, Rashid Rashid wanders over
Wait.
and just
Hang on, isn't Rashid a paladin?
yes,
Okay.
he's a paladin, but
Yeah. But I don't
beasts.
think we've worked out which god and stuff like that that is paladin of.
Yeah, I have.
Evil or neutral? He's not evil.
Come on, I have got him here somewhere. I have got him down, but I'm just gonna say I'm not looking him up now because otherwise it's just gonna take.
No, but I should
forever
just
to
tell
find it, but yeah.
just before he wanders over, I should just say very, very carefully, when they were jackals, they murdered an entire village. Can you bring her here?
Yeah.
Don't be nice about it.
He walks over and just grabs her by the arms, lifts her up, practically just lifts her up, and brings her back to you. She is she's screaming and is obviously fairly aware that this may well not go well for her, and she just keeps looking at Nabil and starts to plead with Nabil.
I shall look to the old man and say, can you give me your name, please, sir?
Mahara.
Okay, I am Yazid.
Pleasure to meet you.
These are all my companions, and I'll give him all the names of everyone else. And I should turn around and say, is this one of the jackals that murdered the village you were in?
Didn't murder my village, but she was one of the ones that murdered the villagers that came to bring me supplies.
Okay. I shall look over and say, what do you say to this woman?
She's licking her lips and she's her eyes are darting around. She says, and she says, Maz said we had to, and Yunadan said we had to. I just do what I'm told.
Tell me of this Maz.
Maz, and she looks towards the one with the single eye.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How many more are there of you? Quick, woman.
There were just the four of us.
And where are the other two?
Abdo was
dead as well.
in a cave outside, and you've killed Batul and Maz.
Give me one very good reason why I should not kill you. And believe me, you are trying to convince not only me, but my new friend here as well, and I'll gesture at Rashid, and this man, who is a champion of his faith.
I didn't have any choice. They made me do it. Maz would hurt us if we didn't, and Yunadan would have killed us. Can you make me a D20 roll?
Yep. Do you want it to be high or low?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, well in that case I only rolled a 3.
You only rolled a 3. Okay.
Okay, at this point I'm going to turn to both.
You have a tendency to believe her. You think that she's telling the truth, that she was pushed into it.
Okay, I'm going to look at my mystic friend, who I've forgotten the name of already.
Mahara?
Mahara, and I'm going to look at Rashid and say, gentlemen, your decision. And I shall look round at the rest of the group and say, Does anybody else want to input anything at this moment in time? Does anybody else want to say anything?
Well, Jafar will point out how much trouble we would be in if we were to say make camp and then she was to do anything while we were sleeping.
That's a very cool mug.
We're going a bit of chaos here. So,
Mahara.
It was a Christmas present.
yeah.
Mahara doesn't even pause, and just says, "You didn't hear what I heard."
Jafar will point out he doesn't care what she heard.
No, he's
It's the old guy saying that.
yeah.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
the old guy is saying, "You didn't hear what I heard."
Against all my general teachings, I think it's a better good that we kill.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone appears to have voted. Does Rashid say anything, Louis?
Rashid is.
Let me do it.
Rashid appears to be slightly torn. He's never the most vocal of guys, but he seems troubled, but not overly troubled. And after a pause, while people are putting in their opinions, he looks at you and says, "I think on balance, we should end her."
Okay, good enough for me. I walk over and slit her throat.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay. She struggles like crazy, but just check. Yeah, there's no way she's going to get away from Rashid. Yeah. Okay. Deed done. Lots of blood, but yeah. Rashid lowers the lifeless corpse to the ground.
Okay, we should bury her and do what we need to do with her.
Are there others that we need to finish off here? Seems we've done one.
No, that she was the only one left alive, and she is the only one here. Unless, of course, we've killed the rest. Mahara tells me there was only 4 of them. Let's bury these 2 corpses, lay them to rest, and shall we see what Mahara wants to do next?
Mahara says, "I've lived in that cave for 30 years. But I don't know that it'll be safe there for a good few years to come. Where are you gentlemen going back to next? Where are you going to next?"
We're going back to, what was the name of the town?
Talv.
Turn back
We're going
Okay.
to Al.
to rejoin our caravan.
If you'd be all right to let me come with you, I think Talv sounds good.
I see no issue with this. Does anyone else have any objections?
No, I just have one question. What is it? I don't wish to know the answer as such. What is this riddle you told the genie that keeps him at bay and has got him so intrigued?
Okay, you've given him some rations, and he started to chew on them and drink, and he's still looking frail and not well, but he looks a bit better. So you've met Yanardin. Centuries dead and still is living, can't forget but is forgiving. All beauty gone, all men reviling. Time betrayed, but still is smiling. That was the riddle. He's come back with with several answers. Some not bad, some not brilliant. The the answer is Al Anwar. Sorry, Azaltin. Long story as to exactly why. I can tell you on the way, but I met a mystic named Narim who taught me the riddle of Azaltin. It seemed like the best way to keep him at bay. He didn't like not knowing. He didn't like to seem stupid. Yeah, so he kept me alive while he could try and figure out the riddle. I don't know how much longer I'd have lasted if you hadn't come.
So, can we, before we go any further, can we make sure the door is shut and the cave seems sealed? Or the wall seems sealed? Just to delay a bit longer.
I'm not sure, actually.
Well, just shut the door, will it fade away?
No, if you shut the door, the door is now a door.
It's a door, it won't change at all. You can't...
Okay.
Just by dispelling it, you won't actually turn it back into a normal bit of wall.
Okay. So it's
However, Louis,
Yeah.
we're going to be a bit cunning here.
Go
we
on.
Shut the door, yeah. Then we pack it with earth. Can I use mould earth on that earth to seal it shut, or at least to make it look like it's sealed shut?
I don't think I think if you're dealing with basically like a solid granite surface that's got a doorway now formed in it, if you put earth around that doorway and use mould earth, you could get it to fill in all of the gaps, but there would still be an outline of a different colour and a different texture.
Is there some sort of trap we can leave?
No.
Trap really and delay?
No, I can get away with that one, actually. Mould earth does allow me to change its colour. Let me just check. If dirt or stone, you target on... If you target an area... You cause shapes, colours, or both to appear on the dirt or stone, spelling out words, creating images, or shaping patterns. The change only lasts for an hour, though.
No good.
They're not
That's no
expecting
good.
him back until the next day.
Yeah.
Is there no trap we can leave for the genie? For delaying? Or do we want to?
Can I summon my Gen and discuss it with my Gen, Louis? To see if he knows of something that we could leave there that would cause the genie to become...
Entrapped,
delayed or...
spared, something.
Yeah.
Or a fake person behind the wall.
Actually, while I'm discussing it with my Gen, I'm going to talk to Mahara at the same time, so that we're all kind of like in a big circle-ish.
Okay. Let me flip open
You've got big circles.
the spells that are largely open to him at the moment. Mahara is now that Soraya is dead and he's been let out. He is starting to tire. He's not going to be a lot of use to you
Soon.
in planning.
But should we get him down to the camels and horses or whatever we had, camels, to start back before we have to carry him there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlie, make me a medicine roll. How bad can it be?
Oh, that's not so bad. +4.
That's not so bad. Okay, 19. Right, you're pretty confident that.
17 myself, but go
Oh yeah, that. Oh,
Don't argue with the GM, Charlie.
Yeah, GM's
But-
privilege. Go on.
especially not with the GM's giving you more than you should have done. Yeah, you're fairly sure that if you can find somewhere quiet for him to rest and get some food into him and some drink into him, he's probably going to be fine to go down later. If you take him now, he's probably about the weakest he's going to be.
The cave's there. I'm wondering whether or not we camp up for a few hours now, let Mahara get some rest, let him get some food and drink into him, and then maybe we move out later. What sort of time of day is it, Louis?
I think we said it was probably about 11 o'clock in the morning by this point. You got out of the you broke camp early, got out of the Valley of Echoes. Then you parked the camels, climbed the wall, had the fight. It's early, but it's not very early. So yeah, I'd say 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, something like that. It's not quite midday yet.
Could go back to the camels.
That's the point. We
Well,
need to give him a rest first.
I think
I'm going to suggest that me and Yusuf stay here with Mahara. We let him rest in the cave. The rest of us go down to the camels, maybe unpack some food, some camping gear. We'll let him get a couple of hours sleep. We'll then feed him and see what state we're in then. And if we're in a good enough state, we move off to get the hell out of here before he shows up again.
Okay, just from what Charlie knows, he could move now. He's a bit frail, but he's not going to be that much better in a couple of hours' time. But he's not going to be that much worse. You were talking about burying bodies or doing that kind of stuff. If you're going to do that, he will be fine, and he'd probably be better off up here
In the show.
while you're doing that. But if you're going to go, with a bit of help, he'll make it down to the camels okay.
So we can keep him up for a couple of minutes while people go and bury the bodies, and we can come down in about half hour's time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that then.
Chance to eat the few rations we brought with us.
Okay. Yeah. I mean the ground is pretty stony, pretty rocky, with kind of it's got a layer of kind of, I suppose you could maybe call it soil on the top.
But you can go back in his room with the door up.
Yeah, I was going to say the obvious places to put the bodies are, rather than bury them, either to put them in that cave and just shut the door on it, or you could put it in one of the other caves. You could maybe get some loose stones and try and build a cairn over it, but 4 bodies are fairly sizable. It depends on how well you want to do it.
You could just chuck them in the room behind the door, leave them in there.
He said he doesn't want to come back for a while, so it's not going to make much difference.
And it'd be a nice little surprise for the genie as well.
Yeah. Sounds like our best bet. We don't want to spend a lot of time burying bodies in that sort of temperature.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll chuck them in the room and then head down and...
Just very quickly, go grab the bodies, put them in there, help Mahara down, get on the camels, get the hell out of Dodge.
Yep.
Okay. In which case, that's exactly what you do. You get the bodies locked up in the cave. None of them are carrying anything at all, which is a bit odd, but you know, hell, they're half hyena, half people things. You shut that. Mahara does need some help in getting down the cliff face, but you managed to get him down.
Carry him.
Yeah, I am. Anwar would definitely barely notice him as a load if Anwar wanted to carry him down. I think you had a spare camel, didn't you?
We must have a camel
Yeah.
for supplies. We must have eaten half our supplies by now.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you guys make it down to the camels, and then are you going to head back the way you came through the
Sounds
Valley
like
of
a
Echoes?
sensible, we've
Yeah.
got a defensible campsite, haven't we? We thought.
The campsite that you spent the night in is only about 2 hours, 2.5 hours from where you are now. So you could get there by mid-afternoon. Yeah, it was basically a pretty much a ring of boulders with one exit on the way, one exit that faced out.
It
So
was fabulous. I remember it rolling for fabulous.
yeah, so you could make it back to there. You're going to be there by mid-afternoon. So it depends on how far you want to get away from here as to whether or not you want to stop there mid-afternoon and just set up camp, or keep pressing on and try and find a new campsite somewhere else in the Valley of Echoes.
I'd like to go for the new campsite because I'd like to try and get as far away as I can from this place before that genie decides to come looking for us.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And we'll be somewhere we haven't been before, so that just look fresh.
Yeah. Okay. In which case, it's nearly 10 past 10. James has crashed out. Is that a good place to stop it with you guys heading in?
Travelling.
Yeah,
Traveling off into the Valley of Echoes?
yeah, that's probably a very good place to stop.
Okay. In which case, I'm not going to hang up. I'm going to press the stop broadcast button for once.
You're going to set a new precedent, are you?
Oh yeah. So anybody that has watched, thanks for watching. See you soon.